Howdy folks, Little John. Told you I'd see you today. We're in the brewery and about to put a brew down, and the time has finally come for the fresh malt kit, and this one is the Legbreaker American IPA from All In Brewing Company. Now, I know everyone's seen it sitting over here for the last last month or so, waiting for it to get brewed. A few people have even commented about it. But yeah, today is the day. So, before we get into it, big shout out and a thank you, as always, to all the patrons, old and new. Thank you guys for your support. There's a link down there in the bottom in the description for to the Patreon page. Jump on, have a look at it, see if you're interested, see what it's about. A couple of bucks a month, you get a few extra bonuses from Little John. You go into draws for free prizes. I've got some caps coming which will go into the prize pool, and I've just ordered some t-shirts. Finally ordered some t-shirts, so that's coming along. So they'll sneak into the prize packs here and there. I suppose if anyone's crazy enough to fucking park their cash and buy one, I suppose that could be an option too. But we'll see about that down the track a little bit. Wait and see how they turn out when they get here. Anyway, if you subscribe to the channel, great. If you're not, hit the subscribe button. There's a bell next to the subscribe button. If you hit that, you get notified apparently when there's a new video, so you don't miss anything. There's a like button down there as well. Hit the crap out of that. I'm drinking the single fin all grain recipe kit I did a few weeks back. It's still waiting on a final tasting video. I'm just letting it make sure it's settled nicely. It's coming along quite nice. But anyway, this fella, getting him on. Now, I had discussed this a little while back on a video talking about the keg setup and the process of setting up that free keg, multi-keg fermenting system for brewing IPAs and NEPAs and stuff. And that, I was intending on using that for this brew, and I discussed that on that video. And it did occur to me while I was doing that video, the potential issue for this kit being too big to ferment in a keg. Because the initial thought was for brewing in the free keg system was to do a slightly smaller batch. Probably sort of something like, start around 14 or 15 litres and work down to a 9 litre keg and, maybe half a dozen, 8 bottles or something in the end to work within that system. Because you can't ferment 23 litres in a 19 litre keg. So, certainly couldn't get a standard batch in there. I did sort of play around on the day of that video that I was going to find a way, a workaround to use this kit, because these are 15 litres now, and you make them up to 20 litres, so again it can't fit into the keg, and I thought the 15 litres would work. I was looking to ferment just the kit and then work some deoxygenated water into the brew, so when it was going into the keg. I thought about it and just gone, no, that's just really a bodgy idea. I think it can work. I don't think there's an issue that it can't work. I just really don't want to go through the process of really making sure there's no oxygen in the beer to then take the chance of take that chance right at the very end, with the simplest ingredient, with the water. So I've decided to put that multi-keg system on hold just for the moment. part of that is also to do with the new direction with the kit brews, because I can use those free kegs for getting a start on those kit brews I'm doing on the new playlist that was discussed last night. Just on the video went up last night. If you haven't seen it yet, yeah, sit there, mate. Yeah. Again, if you were subscribed, you would have got it, and hit the bell, you would have got a notification. You would have known about it. Anyway, so I've decided, no, I'm going to do this proper. I'm going to just pull it back. I'm going to do it the way it's meant to be done. So I've got my Firmzilla sitting here. I'm going to go with the Firmzilla, and so I can use the bottom storage container to do a dry hop, as it's intended to do with the Firmzilla. And that was also part of the reason why I sort of shied away from the free keg system, because the keg system is really designed, the thought process is around having multiple dry hop additions. So more like I said, more like your NEPAs, obviously your double dry hop or triple dry hop pails and stuff, where you're going in multiple times. This is only a one dry hop brew. So I can use the Firmzilla as it's sort of originally intended, by putting the dry hop into the collection vessel, stick it on the bottom, and put it in that way, purging of oxygen and all the rest of it. Now I will do a video on that process. It'll just be a little one, just as I go through the ferment. But I want to get. But I'm going to hold off on that. I'm not going to wait to hold this video up. I want to get this up and going. So originally the focus on getting the fresh walk kit was just to do a fresh walk kit. So I haven't done one. Well, not for a long time. I have done two back quite early on in the channel. They were all in Brewing when they first, not long after they first came out, and when they were back in the cubes. So it's been a while, so I just wanted to get one out just so anyone at home who actually hasn't seen the fresh walk kit, hasn't seen one in use, you get a bit of an idea. So just quickly to go through what these are. I mean, obviously plenty of you guys are going to know what they are. There's going to be whack out there who really don't get, you see this FWK get in front of fresh walk kits, and not exactly sure. There clearly is some confusion around what they are when you look on Facebook and forums and stuff, chat groups. So what all this is an all grain beer that hasn't been fermented. The grain is mashed, it goes through the boil process, there's hops added, and it's cool. And it's put into, in this case, what's now a bag in a box, where it's sanitary. I don't exactly know what their process is, whether it goes in hot, or whether it goes in cold and they just use incredibly good sanitation. If you're working at home, like you're brewing at home and you're using the no chill method, then you're doing a very similar thing. You're making your wort and you're sticking your hot wort into a cube and allowing it to cool. And that's what they used to do. And they've since gone to this packaging, which I believe is purely for cost effectiveness, because it's cheaper to transport in this form than it is in the cubes. They take up less space. They can get more onto, I take it they can get more onto a pallet, so the shipping cost is a little bit lower. So this is all grain beer, made in a production brewery, all in we're at Bendigo in Queensland. Now they've got a brew pub. This is a serious brewery that does this, and there's plenty of other places that do them, all over. Heaps of different brew shops do them. Grain and Grape, Cheeky Peak down in Wodonga, were one of the first mobs doing fresh water kits back in, years back. But doesn't matter where you go, there's all sorts of places doing them. I've seen Mickey Woodford's been putting posts up with Mudgee Brewing Company. They're doing fresh water kits, he's selling them. So they're all over the place. And they're a great way for a newer brewer, or a brewer who is time poor, hasn't got the time to go all grain but would like the quality, to get that quality, because the 3 hours worth of mashing and boiling and cooling has been done for you. You just got to dump, basically got to dump this in. And to that end, the instructions start with a clean and sanitised fermentation vessel. Preferably not a broken one either. Anyway, fucking handle, grabs everything. These things are, I've only used it once. It seems to be a reasonably good bit of kit, but I've got to say, same with the all-rounder. They're good bits of gear and they're fantastic for what they do, but they are fucking fiddly bastards to work with. They are bloody, but anyway. Clean and sanitised, good to go. Beautiful. Decant FWK bladder into fermenter and aerate wort. Now, I haven't got my stirry spoon, which I'll find. Find my bloody bottle of sanitizer. Stirry spoon, it's nice and clean, and it would have been sanitised after last time I used it. I'll give him a good hit of sanitizer. Wave him around in the air. Waving around in the air helps. Anyway, even in there. Now I've made sure the bottom valve on the Firmville is closed. Not like the other day when I checked the tap on a fermenter and then it still bloody wasn't closed. Okay, now, so we're adding this into the fermenter and it says that aerate the wort, and it says add 5 litres of sanitary water at room temperature to bring to 20 litres if desired. So, I'm going to talk about that just a second. I'm going to get in here. Now, I have seen posts where they say these things can be really difficult to play around with, to work with. Now, my understanding is it works basically like an old goon bag. You pop the tap out the end of the box here. Now on the end here it's got a little cutout and a little tap hole. And it's just like the old goon box. You just pop it out, should pull the tap through and it should be there, and I'm assuming you then just drain that into the fermenter. So, but I have seen plenty of people who have had all sorts of issues with actually making that happen. Now, I don't know why. It's leaving the box open and all sorts of things. So I'm going to try and work with that. Now, the sticky tape here doesn't want to really come off, so I'm just sort of cutting around that to get into the into the hole here. And we should be able to pull that tab out the end. If we can, with a little bit of difficulty, what we've got there. Now, so there's the bag, and according to the packaging, there should be a tap of some kind there. And I think this is where the issue comes with people, is that there is not actually a tap there. So that's interesting. So, let's get in here and have a look. And obviously, we've got a bag in there of wort. Let's be very careful that we don't get in there and cut it up wide open. So I've seen people do that too. Look at that, and there is our plastic tap. It is there. It's just sitting up on top. So let's see if we can get that through. I would almost go as far as to say this bag is in upside down. That's, I think, the big problem there. It should be the other way around. So I really do think that it will be easier if it can be set up in the box. So and like your typical dune bag, it's not a perfect process, but we got there. It's in place. So big question is going to be, how fast is this going to come gushing out of here? So this could make a bloody a rotten mess. The spoon in. Let's see how we go. And that's good. I've just dropped the lid in there. So something that's not sanitary has been sitting around for a little while. Just gone straight into the fermenter. But 3-second rule, I'm happy to live with that. So now there's a little pull plug in there. Now I am going to assume from my worldly experiences that given there's 15 litres of water pressure behind that with liquid, as soon as I pull that, it's going to want to spew out in all sorts of directions. So I am expecting this to get a little bit messy. Let's see how we go. Yep, and you did exactly what I thought it was going to do. That was too much. Me fucking feet are soaking wet. But anyway, we're progressing. As I said, lessons. And I can see, looking at that, like how people are having, you know, some issues with controlling how they're getting that. The bag itself, if you pull the bag out and just pull the end off, you have all sorts of trouble holding onto it, I think. So I think if had I that experience, had I just tilted the box like this, pointing downwards and pulled the cap, we would have been good. But other than that, it's come out pretty good, no worries. And like a good teenager at a party, the goon bag is all but empty. Voilà. Done. So, apart from the bit of a mess, as I said, we learned from that and we won't make that mistake a second time. So keep that in mind if you are going for a one of these boxes, that's what's going to happen. Didn't miss the bloody fermenter by much, it was only that much in it, but anyway. So, I'll just throw a towel down there for the minute. Now, it's showing on my volume measurement here, bit over 15.5 litres, so that's not too bad. So we'll just give this a bit of an aeration. Oh, far out. Well, I'm certainly getting more beer on me than I intended to. so I'll be sticky and smelly. Anyway, but while I'm just giving this a bit of an aeration, a bit of a stir, we'll talk about the next process, which is adding in the extra water. So let's say add 5 litres to bring it to 20. Now, I'm a bit concerned about actually doing the 5 litres, because it's saying on the box, which I'll get back up. It says on here, on the front there, AG when packed 1070. Filled on the 1st of January, current SG 1070. So by my calculations, at 15 litres, I've had 5 litres of this, it's going to get me about a 1053 starting gravity, which gets me an IPA in the 5.2, 5.3, 5.4 region. That low mid 5s, you know, depending on the attenuation of the yeast. Which I'm reasonably happy with. I'd probably rather it more the 5.5 than the low 5s. So I had thought about just adding sort of more like 4 litres, just to get the gravity a little bit higher. But then I did think, oh, hang on, let's just brew it the way they're telling us to. Now I know it says on here on the top, to top the 20 litres if desired, but it does say on the front it's 15 litres and it makes 20 litres. So that is the intention. This is with the recipe, and this is what with their suggestions for hops and things. So I'm going to go with that. So I've got some bottles of tap water, and I'm going to throw them in. Now I've got 4 litres. As I said, okay, once that's settled, it has come closer to the 15 litres initially. So we'll get these in. Now, the only other thing we've got to add, obviously we've got to add yeast to this, but the other thing we've got to add is hops. I don't think there's too many of these fresh wort kits that you don't sort of need to dry hop, or they don't recommend dry hopping. There might be one or two, like maybe some of the larger, some of the lighter brews, but for the most part they're suggesting that you do a dry hop. Now this one, they're suggesting 50 grams of Citra and 50 grams of Centennial. Now the hops in the actual brew themselves are Columbus, Centennial and Citra. So we're basically just dosing up again on the Centennial and the Citra, which would have been used as a late addition for flavouring. You know, I would pretty much be pretty confident that they've used Columbus up front for bittering. So I've gone through my hops and just checked that I did have Centennial and Citra, which I was pretty confident I did, and I found both. Now, as I was going through, I did find a pack of Simcoe. I thought, oh, that'd go really well. IPA, bit of, you know, the fruitiness of the Citra and the Centennial, and a little bit of extra fruit and a little bit of the dank and pine that comes with the Simcoe. But I thought about it for a little bit. I've actually got the Simcoe out, I've got the hops out, so I can get them, I'm going to weigh them up and just put them aside. And I thought, nah, again, let's just go with the kit. So that's where we're going. So I was thinking, it's an American IPA. It's not West Coast. And I think particularly West Coast does play more with the dank. and the piney side of things, where they're just saying an American IPA, so it's more, I think the intention is that it's more going to be more fruit driven, so I'm going to stick with that. So they will get added, it doesn't say when, it just says approximately, it doesn't say approximately, just dry hop, doesn't say when. So I'll probably do that around probably like day 6 or day 7, be towards the end of the ferment. Be quite late in the ferment. I don't want to get them in early, and I'll go in there and probably for 3 or 4 days. So yeast, again, they've got suggestions on here for yeast. They're saying Morgan's Premium American Ale, US05, BRY 97, WLP 001, or YEast 1056. So they've given you pretty much every option for an American ale yeast, depending on what manufacturer or supplier you're going through. I've got US05 in the fridge, so I'm going to go US05. I'm going to get that out just in a minute, and I'm going to get that, I'll rehydrate that and get that in here. I forgot to grab it out before I've started up, so I'll get this fella into the fridge in a minute. Get it up to about 18 degrees. I'm going to let this build its own pressure up to probably, maybe 10-12 psi. I don't want a lot of pressure on it. I do want to have a little bit of impact from the yeast, but again, not a lot. Don't want doing all the flavouring. There's enough hops there to do that. So yeah, sort of mid-range on the pressure. 18 degrees, and that be her. So I'm gonna get a quick sample on this. Get a hydro and just see where we are at without slipping over in me bloody very slippery thongs. And again, this is a big issue with the Firmzilla. Samples are not an easy thing to get and to take. I had contemplated actually mixing this in a standard fermenter, and then so I'd get sample and stuff, and then going in from there, which would have also been a helpful way of getting some aeration and stuff. Well, it's all good. Let's see what we're looking at. Okay, that tastes quite nice. A little bit of a bitter hop edge, but not a massive amount. That's sort of what you would expect with a an IPA. Expect a bit there. Okay, and we got. Okay, that's telling me 1056. So I'm actually really happy with that. 1056 should get us, if we get down to 1012, which we should get to around 1012. It's 40. It's 44. That's about 5.7%. So even if we stop at 1014, which would sort of be the lower end of attenuation, we're going to be at 5.4. So we should hit 5.4 to 5.8% ABV on this batch without any real trouble, which I think is going to work really nice. That's a good range for an IPA. I mean, you want to know you're drinking something when you do drink it. So anyway, that's her. That's it. It's got to get the yeast on it. We've seen yeast. We've seen. Don't need to see me put this fucking thing in the fridge. So done. All in Brewing Company. Legbreaker American IPA fresh walk kit in the Fernzilla. So I might just lift him up here on the table. If I can do that without going arse over, just so you can get an eye and look at the colour of it before it does go into the ferment fridge. And we've got to make sure it's very iron. So she's fairly deep in colour off the bat. But there's not a lot of crud matter in there, which is good. So hopefully we're not going to lose too much volume to crap in there. So all good. So done. So many fucking so's. I will do the follow-up, just a little bit on the dry hopping, just to show how that works with the Fernzilla, how we go through that process, and getting the oxygen out of that container. That'll just be a little quick little short one I'll throw up. Then we'll be looking at, a couple of weeks we'll be drinking this one. Probably look at them, really maybe a week and a half before we'll be able to get this into a keg. So I'd be looking initial tasting maybe 2 weeks after that, see how we go. So probably just after Easter, I'm imagining, because I'm going to be away at Easter, so I'd say possibly the weekend after Easter we'll be looking at first tasting on this fella and see how it goes. So again guys, cheers and thank you for watching. Thumbs up for the Patreons. Cheers to the subscribers. And as I said, if you're here and you haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button. That's me done. Any questions, any comments, stick them down the bottom as always. If there's anyone who's done this kit or similar, particular ways you go about doing things or things that have worked for you, again, stick them in the comments as well. But for now, that's me. I'm done. Little John, I'm out of here. So, till I see you again, we're brewing beer, drinking beer, or talking beer. Good brewing.